The Catholic Morning Show.
Father Chris Rising, who joined us in the opening segment, was one of several priests out at the St. Vincent de Paul Chip-In for Charity golf outing yesterday. I want to thank Steve Haveman, Executive Director of St. Vincent de Paul, as well as all those who came out to support the great work that is being done there. If you missed yesterday's golf outing, I want to remind you, Iowa Catholic Radio golf outing coming up Thursday, June 11th at Beaver Creek. We have just a couple of foursomes open, so if you want to participate, go to iowacatholicradio.com right now. Let's go to our next guest, I think of particular interest to our listeners on 89.9 FM KCSL in the Iowa Great Lakes region. I want to say good morning and welcome to the Catholic Morning Show, Jim Murray, interim superintendent of the Diocesan Catholic Schools in Sioux City. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
You bet. I think this is, with change is always an opportunity for a fresh start, right, or a fresh perspective, building upon the work of those that have gone before us. And Jim, talk a little bit about how this opportunity to be named the interim superintendent there in Sioux City came about.
Oh, I'm grateful to have the opportunity. I kind of fell into it. It's perfect timing. I'm retiring from the public school system, from Humboldt and Twin Rivers Community School Districts, and was looking for an opportunity to where I could still make a difference with kids and still use my skill set as a leader. And this part-time interim opportunity became available, and it's amazing. It's a chance for me to apply my skills, but also a chance for me to learn much more about my Catholic faith and Catholic school system. We've got St. Mary's School in our community here in Humboldt, and they're amazing partners with us, as the public school and Catholic school. And they have this terrific leader, Principal Sarah Borman, and we've just got a great relationship. I've always been fascinated by the education they provide. So this is a chance for me to maybe cross the lines and see what Catholic education is all about.
And I think that's exactly what I was kind of looking for there, is bringing that, we'll just say, secular or public school experience, and then translating that, bringing it into the Catholic school system there. And what are some of the strengths, and maybe it's a little early to tell, because I don't think you're officially on the job yet, but I think your term starts July 1st. But what are some of the strengths, in addition to the school there in your community, but diocesan-wide, what are some of the strengths with the school system?
With the public school system or our St. Mary's school system?
The Catholic school system there in the Sioux City Diocese.
Oh, the Catholic school system has many strengths. The staff is amazing at the Catholic school system. There's a lot of dedicated, caring individuals. And honestly, the most important way to make a difference or to help students have successful educational experience is the teacher. And I think Sarah has selected an amazing staff there. And their dedication to both service in the community and service to students, it really shows. And then I always respect people who are kind. I've always just thought, if people could just be kind to each other and respect each other. And honestly, when I do visit the Catholic school, I see that, and I see the way they treat the students. And so I think that's the most important thing. And then, of course, that Catholic identity. It's easy to identify at the St. Mary's School here in town. It should be visible that they're providing a Catholic education. And I do know, I'm confident in Sarah, and that when she works with students and works with staff, that making sure that Jesus Christ is a part of that conversation, and then the gospel comes into the learning that students are given.
Well, so you have this tag interim, and you said it's a part-time job. What does the timeline sort of look like, or is there a timeline for how this transition will continue to take shape?
Well, we're going to figure it out as we go. It was truly a privilege to meet Bishop Keener. It's like meeting a celebrity, to be honest, in my opinion. But also the hiring group, the way they cared for what was going to happen during this transition. Dr. Yuno is the superintendent of hire. She's very qualified. I've met her now, and I'm extremely impressed. She's got to finish up some coursework to become endorsed as a superintendent. So this provides me an opportunity to kind of serve as the superintendent of the Catholic diocese, and then also mentor her as she completes her coursework, and then as she moves into transitions into this job as superintendent. It's a complex job. It's relationship driven. You have to be a strong communicator, and then you have to also help develop leaders. And I'm excited to have that opportunity. But I hope I'm coming across. I'd like to believe I'm a humble person, and that I could learn as much from Dr. Yuno in the Catholic Diocese as hopefully I can provide for them.
Well, I think you're coming across very humble, because one of the things that's always been stressed upon me is the greatest teachers always remember that they're students first. And this idea of being able to not only take what experience you've had, but to continue to learn about how what your experience will bring to this. Another aspect that I think listeners might be kind of curious about is sometimes at the leadership level, people don't really understand all of the behind the scenes work that sort of has to take place. What do you anticipate the sort of day-to-day work looking like for you in this role as interim superintendent?
Well, I had great respect for Patty Lansing. I was familiar with Patty because she was in our superintendent consortium here in this part of the state. And in talking to her, it sounds like it's more of a school improvement opportunity versus what I do here in the public school system. Here in the public school system, the buck stops with me with everything, and that includes finance or staffing and employees and such. And it doesn't mean I won't have a hand in that in the diocese as I understand it, but I get to focus very hard on helping the diocese implement their strategic plan. I know just from reading the strategic plan that getting kids to have that Catholic identity throughout the school day versus just having one class about religion and making sure that's part of the education that occurs from everyone is a focus and an emphasis. And so if I can be a part of helping them implement their strategic plan or helping them strengthen that, I'm willing to do it. And I look forward to July, because then I can sit down hopefully with Bishop Keener and the leadership staff. And if they're specific with me about what they'd like to accomplish, I'd be happy to do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Well, I think you're right. Bishops are, at least for us Catholics, are like celebrities. But you get to discover that they're men too. That sometimes have their own particular challenges. But I would say every experience that we've had here with Bishop Keener through Iowa Catholic Radio just seems to be a great leader, a great shepherd, a man of great faith. And so I imagine you're going to really enjoy that working relationship. I'm going to put. We've got just a couple more minutes here with Jim Murray, who's serving as, will be taking over as the interim superintendent for the Catholic schools in the Sioux City Diocese there. And maybe putting your humility to the test, coming from the public school system in a long time serving there in that community, what is maybe the thing that you're most proud of in your accomplishments, or the thing you've really enjoyed the most up to this point in your career?
Oh, I'm proud of the relationships, honestly. I've changed jobs. People do that throughout their career. Mine's been 32 years. But I can honestly say everywhere I've left, I feel like the relationships with the people are strong and are still strong. And I think that's what it's all about, is can you develop positive relationships with people and getting to know them on a personal level, and then hopefully operating in a kind fashion as a leader to where your job is to support them, do what you can to help them be successful. So I was successful. I loved teaching in Wall Lake View, Auburn, and Storm Lake. It was a great job, and I still have fond memories of the staff and the students I had. I loved being a principal in Independence and Benton Shellsburg schools, both. And again, I have such fond memories of the staff and the work we've done. And then here in Humboldt, it's just been an amazing experience. I'm so grateful to the school board for giving me this opportunity here. But I feel really strong and good about and most proud of my Humboldt experience with the relationships with the community. I felt like when I entered the community and did my entry plan and interviewed folks, there wasn't trust between the public school system and the community. And I've had a good opportunity to build that trust back up. So I feel like we have great trust, great support from the public stakeholders. And I feel great about the leadership. I've been able to hire over my 6 years all of the leadership team, the principals and directors. I feel like they're strong and they're continuing to learn, and learning is what we do together. And then finally, I'm really proud of the student success we've had here. And I'm not the one that's mostly accountable for that. I've got great teachers. but hopefully I had a hand in it and making sure they had the resources and the support they needed to be successful.
Jim Murray, I want to say thank you very much. This has been a delightful conversation, and I hope we'll get to do it again. We wish you well as you start in this role as interim superintendent there for the Catholic schools. Thanks for making time for us here on the Catholic Morning Show. It sounds like the hiring team, Bishop Keener, made the right choice because, relationships will remain important. And if you've had success there, I think you'll find success in your role at the Catholic schools. Thanks again so much for joining us this morning.
Listen to the Catholic Morning Show weekdays at 7 a.m. Central on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network, iowacatholicradio.com, or the Iowa Catholic Radio app.